The smell of rain still clung to her suitcase when she walked through the door. Wet leather, travel perfume, and something else, something foreign, sharp and wrong. I stood by the kitchen counter, pretending to slice an apple one had no intention of eating. My hand froze when I heard her voice. "Hey, baby." It was soft. Familiar. Too familiar. She dropped her bag on the floor like she always did, shaking her hair loose, smiling that half-smile she knew disarmed me every time. But her eyes, they didn't meet mine. They flickered past me, scanning the apartment as though checking for something out of place. "How was the trip?" I asked, keeping my voice even low. "Good. Really good," she said. "We hiked, She stopped, corrected herself too quickly. I hiked. Alone. It was peaceful." My knife pressed a little harder into the cutting board. "Alone?" "Yeah," she said, tossing her jacket on the chair, avoiding my gaze. "I needed space. Time to clear my head." That was the first lie of the night. I could feel it crawl across the floor and wrap around my ankles like smoke. 3 days before her solo trip, she'd left her laptop open. A message thread blinked on the screen. A name I hadn't seen in 2 years. Ethan. Her ex. The one who still liked her photos at 3 a.m. The one she swore was just part of her past. The message was short. "Ethan. So we're really doing this?" "Maya. Yeah. Just us. No drama. Please. No drama." That line had played in my head on repeat while she was gone. I wanted to believe there was some innocent explanation. Maybe they just met for closure, one final goodbye. Maybe I was being paranoid, reading too much into old wounds that never healed right. But when she returned tonight, I saw something in her. A lightness that hadn't been there before, the kind that only comes from being seen, desired, remembered. I forced a smile. "You look tired." "I am," she said, slipping off her shoes. "It was a long drive." "You sure you drove the whole way?" Her eyes darted to mine. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. Just asking." The silence that followed was suffocating. Only the rain outside filled the space between us. She finally walked past me, brushing her hand along my arm like a peace offering. "Let's not do this tonight, okay? I just want to shower and sleep." Her touch felt different. Lighter. Like guilt wearing the mask of affection. When she disappeared into the bathroom, I stared at her suitcase again. Something about it nagged at me. The small tear in the corner, the faint mark of mud along the edge. I knelt, unzipped it halfway. Inside, a neatly folded men's t-shirt. Size large. It smelled faintly of cologne. Not hers. Not mine. My breath hitched. I zipped it back, my pulse hammering so loud it drowned out the shower. I didn't know what hurt more, that she lied or that she thought I was too naive to notice. When she came out wrapped in a towel, I was still sitting on the edge of the bed, the t-shirt folded neatly beside me. Her eyes widened. "Where did you get that?" "You tell me," I said. "Maya, it's not what you think." "Then what is it?" She froze, calculating, then sighed. "It's Ethan's. He forgot it in the car. I didn't realize it was in my bag." I laughed. Sharp, bitter, hollow. "You expect me to believe that?" "Believe whatever you want," she said quietly. "I'm not doing this right now." And with that she turned away. For a long moment I just watched her. The curve of her back, the towel slipping slightly, the faint mark on her shoulder. A mark I didn't put there. I wanted to scream. To throw the shirt in her face. But something colder took hold instead. I stood, crossed the room and whispered, "You really shouldn't have lied." Her head turned slightly. "What's that supposed to mean?" "You'll see." That night I couldn't sleep. I replayed every detail of our last few weeks. Her sudden distance, the late-night work calls, the shift in her tone when I said I love you. Denial was a drug, and I'd overdosed on it long enough. At 3 a.m., I reached for her phone on the nightstand while she slept. Face relaxed, lips slightly parted. She looked so peaceful it made my chest ache. Her phone was locked. But she'd always been careless. I tried her birth date first. No luck. And mine. Well. Then Ethan's, the month they'd started dating. Unlock. I scrolled through her messages, her photos. Nothing new with his name. But then I noticed something. A folder hidden in her photo gallery titled Mountains. Inside were photos from her solo trip. At first they seemed harmless, landscapes, hotel rooms, selfies. But one picture caught my breath. It wasn't the view that froze me. It was the reflection in her sunglasses. A man standing behind her, half hidden, smiling. Ethan. I stared at the photo until my eyes blurred. Something in me cracked open. Not rage, not sadness, something deeper. A kind of clarity that burns cold. I backed up every photo to my cloud, deleted my traces, and set her phone back down. Then I lay there beside her until morning, staring at the ceiling, waiting for dawn to arrive like judgment. When sunlight finally spilled through the blinds, she stirred, stretching lazily. "Morning," she murmured. Smiled. "Morning." She leaned over to kiss me, but I turned away just enough for her lips to brush my cheek instead. She hesitated, then said, "You're still upset about last night." "Not at all," I said softly. "Actually, I've been thinking." "About what?" "About us. About honesty." She frowned. "Can we not start the day like this?" "Oh, we're not starting anything," I said, reaching for my phone. "We're ending it." Her confusion flickered to fear when she saw the photo open on my screen, the one with Ethan's reflection. "Maya," I said, my voice trembling but steady. "You can lie to me. But you can't lie to the lens." She stared at the photo, color draining from her face. "Let me explain," she whispered. "Explain what?" "That you needed closure. That it just happened. That you still love him." Tears welled in her eyes. "I didn't plan for it." "Stop," I said sharply. "Don't insult me with rehearsed lines." I stood up, my chest tight, vision blurring with heat. "You went back to the one person who broke you, and you dragged me through the same lie." "I was confused," she said. "He reached out and I thought seeing him would help me let go." I laughed bitterly. "So sleeping with him was therapy." She flinched. "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like?" Silence. That silence was my answer. Maya sat on the edge of the bed, her fingers tangled in the towel she still hadn't changed out of. The truth hung between us like the smoke of something that had already burned beyond saving. I could feel my pulse in my ears. Every heartbeat sounded like a countdown. "Say something," she whispered. "I already did," I said quietly. "You just didn't listen." She buried her face in her hands. "It wasn't supposed to happen. I just talked. Things got messy. I didn't mean to hurt you." I almost laughed. Didn't mean to. That phrase felt so small, so useless, compared to the gaping wound her choices had carved into me. "Do you even remember what you told me the night before you left?" "Yes." She lifted her head, eyes swollen. "I told you I loved you." I nodded slowly. "Right. You said, 'I love you, don't overthink while I'm gone.' And then you went and spent 4 days with the one person who made me question if love even exists." She reached out, but I stepped back. "Please just let me fix this," she pleaded. I stared at her, and for the first time, I realized how much energy I'd spent trying to keep her from breaking. How much of myself I'd poured into patching cracks she kept reopening. "There's no fixing this, Maya," I said, voice trembling. "You didn't just betray me. You betrayed us. Every promise, every late-night conversation, every time I believed you." She shook her head. "No, you don't understand. It's over with him. It meant nothing." "Then why delete the messages?" Her eyes widened. "You think I wouldn't notice?" Continued. "You wiped everything before coming home. You didn't even trust me enough to let me see the lie you built." Tears streamed down her cheeks. I panicked. I took a step closer, my anger sharp and controlled now. "No. You planned. You chose him. You packed a bag, drove there, and decided I didn't deserve the truth." She swallowed hard, her voice barely a whisper. "What are you going to do?" I smiled faintly. "Funny question. You always assume I'll just stay quiet." Her eyes flicked up, confused. I've spent so long protecting your image, Maya, I said. Covering your absences, your lies, pretending I didn't notice the way you flinched when I touched you. But you know what? I'm done being your secret keeper. Her breath hitched. What do you mean? I sent the photos to your sister, I said softly. She blinked, frozen. You what? And to your boss. The color drained from her face. You didn't. Oh, I did. You see, you weren't just with Ethan. You were with him while you were supposed to be at that marketing retreat your company paid for. Maya, please, she stammered, reaching for me. You don't understand what this will do to me. I understand perfectly. She stood up, shaking, towel barely holding. This isn't you. You're not cruel. I tilted my head. No, I'm not. But you made me believe that love means swallowing pain quietly. You taught me to bury what I feel so you wouldn't have to face who you are. She pressed her palms to her face, sobbing now. You've ruined my life. No, I said calmly. You did that the moment you thought you could lie and still come home to safety. For a while, there was only silence, the kind that feels like an echo of everything unsaid. Then I walked to the dresser, picked up the folded t-shirt, and tossed it to her. Give that back to the man you still dream about. You'll need someone to comfort you when your world falls apart. She clutched it to her chest, shaking her head. Please don't do this. I looked at her one last time. The woman I'd loved for 3 years. Beautiful, brilliant, but hollow in ways I could never fill. I wanted to feel pity. I wanted to feel anything but this numb clarity. Instead, I said, you should go. She left that evening. I watched her car pull away, taillights disappearing into the dusk. A part of me wanted her to turn around, to come back and fall into my arms, crying, begging. But she didn't. And I didn't chase her. For the first time in months, the apartment was silent. I stood in the doorway, surrounded by the echo of our life together. The photographs, the notes on the fridge, the half-empty mug she left behind. Every detail felt like a ghost whispering, was any of it real? I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I sat at my desk, scrolling through the photos one last time before deleting them. I didn't want proof anymore. I wanted peace. A week passed. Then 2. Maya didn't call. Didn't text. But I knew what was happening through the grapevine. The fallout was worse than she expected. Her sister confronted her. Her job launched an investigation. Ethan ghosted her the moment things got complicated. I should have felt satisfied, vindicated. But all I felt was empty. Revenge is supposed to feel like closure. Instead, it just felt like silence after a scream. One evening, as I was packing the last of her things into a box, there was a knock on the door. I opened it to find her standing there. Eyes hollow, hair unkempt, voice fragile. Can I come in? She asked. I hesitated, then stepped aside. She looked around the apartment, her gaze lingering on the empty spaces where her photos used to hang. You cleaned up, she said softly. Yeah. Makes sense, she murmured. You were always better at letting go. I didn't reply. She turned toward me. I lost everything, you know. I met her eyes. You lost everything you chose to risk. She flinched. I came to say sorry. Too late, I said, my tone flat but not cruel. I know. But I needed you to hear it. I was stupid. I was scared. I thought I needed closure. But what I really needed was you. Her voice broke, and for a fleeting second, I saw the woman I'd fallen in love with. The one who used to laugh at midnight, who traced constellations on my skin. But the image dissolved as quickly as it came. I believe you're sorry, I said. But that doesn't make it better. She nodded slowly, tears falling. You're right. It doesn't. She reached into her bag, pulling out an envelope. This is yours. Inside was a photograph. The same one with Ethan's reflection, only now torn in half. My half showed just her, standing against the mountains, smiling. Keep it, she whispered. Maybe one day it won't hurt. And then she was gone again. Months later, I hiked those same mountains alone. The air was cold, clean, and cruelly beautiful. I found the exact ridge from her photo, stood there, and looked at the view through my own reflection in my sunglasses. For the first time I didn't see her behind me. I smiled, not because I'd moved on but because I finally understood. Betrayal doesn't just destroy trust. It destroys the illusion that love is safe. But in that destruction, there's something strangely liberating. The realization that silence doesn't protect you. Truth does. And I promised myself, standing there with the wind biting my skin, that I would never stay quiet again.